Simba.
If you watch the Lion King movie, you'll probably remember that scene. The stampede in the gorge was caused by hyenas chasing after the wildebeest. Such is the nature of the wildebeest migration. Today, I'll be talking to you about the wildebeest migration, also known as the Great Migration. Between 2005 and 2015, I was a travel agent specializing in selling African safaris to Kenya and Tanzania. Our peak season and highest bookings were for travel between the months of June and September, and almost always included a visit to Masai Mara. And as you can guess, it's because of the wildebeest migration. So today, I'll first describe what the wildebeest migration is and what makes it so significant. And then I will share some interesting facts about the migration. And lastly, I will look at some threats to the wildebeest migration. So what is the wildebeest migration? The wildebeest migration is one of the largest animal migrations in the world. According to National Geographic, every year over 1.5 million wildebeest, accompanied by zebras, antelopes, and other predators, migrate from southern Serengeti National Park in Tanzania to Masai Mara in Kenya. The wildebeest migration takes place between two countries, and that is Kenya and Tanzania. The wildebeest follow the same path every year and move in a clockwise direction. Now that you have some knowledge about what the wildebeest migration is, I will look at some factors that influence the migration. Why the wildebeest migrate? Per the National Geographic, the herds migrate in search of greener pastures and water. Just like you and I, the wildebeest have a natural instinct to survive. So they follow the rain patterns to, like when it starts to dry up in southern Serengeti, they start to make their way to Masai Mara. When do they migrate? The exact timing of the migration varies based on rainfall, but arrival of the herds in Masai Mara is between the months of May and August. In October to November, the herds start to make their way back to southern Serengeti. While the migration is an important part of the Serengeti Mara ecosystem, there are some factors that threaten to jeopardize this naturally occurring phenomenon. The first threat identified by Newsweek is human population. And why human population? When there's an increased need for land by humans to settle, it leads to deforestation, road construction, and infringement in the park. There is also an increase in artificial barriers which stand in the way of the natural flow of the migration. There's also poaching of wildebeest for game meat, and this continues to be a challenge as human beings find a way to survive. The other challenge that the wildebeest migration faces is climate change. Climate change is causing unpredictable weather patterns, which leads to longer dry spells and severe floods, and this disrupts the migration cycles. Extreme weather can also cause animals, the wildebeest, to starve, and sometimes they will die in the floods, and this has caused a decrease in their numbers as well. Today, I was able to give you some basic knowledge about the wildebeest migration, and we discussed three main things. The wildebeest migration is one of the largest animal migrations in the world. Every year, The herds migrate between Serengeti in Tanzania and Masai Mara in Kenya using the same path in search of greener pastures and water. The two threats that were identified to the wildebeest migration is number one, the human population, and number two is climate change. The wildebeest migration is an epic event and is essential for the survival of the Serengeti Mara ecosystem. So more oversight, collaboration between the Kenya and Tanzania governments, and involvement of the local people is necessary to be able to preserve these national treasures. Local people need to see the value of protecting these animals in these parks. I've been able to experience the wildebeest migration, and it is truly a phenomenal event. It is no wonder Pumbaa and Timon were singing Hakuna Matata. Thank you so much.